morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks on Tuesday, the 27th day of August, year of our Lord 2019. Welcome to the John Moore Show. We begin our shows with the Pledge of Allegiance, which apparently is controversial in some parts of the country, especially California. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our special guest this morning is Mr. Stephen Ben Noon. He is the proprietor of IsraeliNewsLive.org. Did I get that right, Steve? Or IsraeliNewsLive.org?
That's right, Joe.
Okay, good. And we're going to talk about the events of the day, international events, national events, as they apply to all of us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, John. A lot is going on.
It is. It is. Well, I've been telling people we got 14 months before all hell breaks loose. Next week I'll be telling people 13 months. And of course, I got confirmation of that when I was in Washington, D.C. a couple of weeks ago. People at rather high levels of connection to the government. That's as much as I'm going to say to protect people's identity. Not that I need confirmation, but it's always very gratifying to get confirmation, isn't it, Steve?
It is always good to know when you have confirmation because that kind of gives you a heads up. And I've got a little surprise for you on some of that information today as well.
Well, now you got our interest up. Tell us what you got.
You're so like that, John. Listen, yesterday there was a private conversation, and it's actually my wife had this conversation, and there are ministers, and I guess some people would think of the clergy response team when I discuss this. And for those that may not know what that is, that's where the pastors have been, many of them, the 501c corporations, have been working with the U.S. government over the years in the event of some type of a national emergency. What would they do? How would they respond to get to get their flocks to go along with whatever the government was going to do? And of course, they really like to cite Romans chapter 13 in order to get the full compliance of their flocks. I think Chuck Baldwin, he's a good friend of mine. I've known Chuck for many years, but we've gotten a little bit closer here more recently, and he's brought out a lot of information on that if you want to look that up. But what we had found out, though, John, goes beyond that of the 501c 3 clergy response team. We have found out that there are very, very high up pastors that are selling out their flocks. They know that something major is coming. They have been issued a particular card to where when everything gets really bad, they will be able to go past all the checkpoints and they are to meet at a certain location where their families will be taken to safety. They have been using the platforms for propaganda to push the agenda of what these individuals want brought out, and like I said, they're given the passage as a result of changing their stance. And I know the NSA is behind this. They're just one of the agencies that's behind this. And I think, John, without going into too much detail on this, all people have to do is look at some of your really mainstream media giants, and as far as in ministry, and if you have seen any change in the message they may have brought in the past compared to what they're bringing out now, then you're getting a closer sign as to what's going on. And it's really sad, though, John, because Uh, I have watched this unfold, and I knew a little bit about some of the details of this a couple, well, 2 or 3 years back, I should say. I've known about some of these individuals and these alleged secret meetings that were going on, but I had no idea to the extent what was happening, and also, of course, the cooperation with the government and to bring out only the agenda. And I guess, too, John, the seriousness of this, though, is the fact that it tells us that something big is coming. They do anticipate a major, I'll use the word in this case here for just for the general purpose, but they're anticipating a major unrest here in the United States, and as a result, they're going to protect these people. But the emphasis cannot be overstated, though, that they've also used their platform for an agenda to bring out the message that they want brought out. And that's bothering me.
Well, it should bother you, and it flies in the face of a pastor's duty and responsibility to provide care and protection for the members of his congregation. They're taking advantage of some very bad aspects of human nature, which basically is greed at this point. Greed on the part of the pastors to place themselves in what they believe will be the care and protection of their family ahead of the care and protection of the members of their congregation. There'll be some pastors who will pretend to go along with this in order to get more information and then publicize it. Not many. I would say less than maybe 1 or 2% would be about what I would guess. But it will be exposed, and the alternative media won't it?
It will, John. And the thing is, I mean, one thing I shared with our viewers last night when I just did a quick video on it, but I spoke about where, Jesus in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 12 specifically, right after he says that he was the good shepherd and that he was willing to lay his life down, he spoke about the hireling. And he said he doesn't care. He's not the shepherd, or just kind of paraphrasing. But he says, that he's that the hireling doesn't care about the sheep. When he sees the wolf coming, he talks about how that the hireling will leave the sheep, and he flees, and the wolf catches basically the sheep, and scatters the sheep. But I thought it was interesting, though, if you think about the verbiage, because not only does the hireling, which he's not the real shepherd of the sheep, he also knows the wolf is coming, knows this danger is coming, and then it makes that statement that he leaves the sheep and flees. And this is exactly what these ministers, and it's in the Messianic ranks. And John, I'm sure you know this as well, but when I worked with the CIA, I was not involved in these things here because it was done more by the FBI. But the FBI was always infiltrating religious organizations. And it wasn't until years later that I realized that not just infiltrating, but they were actually installing, and I think that's higher up in the FBI, but they were installing leaders of these organizations, working their ways up into the ranks, and of course, all across the nation, we have many of these leaders that are of these mega churches and things that are not genuine people to begin with.
That's very disappointing, Steve. That's very disappointing.
It is, and that's what's bothering me. They've got, even now, John. They've got and I won't call names by saying this, but people can they can see for themselves. I'm sure they're aware of it, but I have seen a major movement in cooperation with Jewish leaders that are trying to get the Spanish communities around the globe, more specifically South America, Central America, and the United States, to repent for their families that ever left Judaism under the Spanish Inquisition, and having these Christians go back underneath Talmudic rabbis in Israel. I
Really?
mean, this is absolutely insane, and it's a major movement, John. Major movement that's
Really?
going on.
Really? Uh, I'm a bit surprised. Now, a friend was telling me that there was a large movement of Jews converting to Christianity also. Is that taking place as well?
There is, and that is the good news. We can say I've got a good friend of mine who is an Israeli believer, and he has told me. He says I can't say it publicly, Steve. He says because they would do a lot of damage to us. In fact, he won't go on the record to say this either, but he was married, and of course his wife was a Gentile believer, and the Israeli government arrested his wife. When they put her in prison, they said, "You are to divorce your husband. He is a Jew. You are not a Jew." And they threatened her with physical violence if she did not divorce him. And when she stood her ground, of course, they didn't, as far as I know, they did not do physical violence. They only, they basically deprived her of food and water, trying to get her to break off the marriage. They were threatening him. They finally sent her, she is from the Philippines, and they deported her to the Philippines. And he has been fighting ever since to get his wife. And he told me, he says, I've kept quiet thus far, Steve. He says, but if they don't do the right thing and allow my wife to come back, he said, then I will go public with what's going on. And they're just one of many families. The Hyde family, which we've interviewed the Hyde family before on Israeli News Live, have also suffered the same thing. Ariel Hyde, who's a very well-known believer in Israel, that his family is a Jewish family. This young man has won many Jews to Christ, an amazing young man. And he as well, because his wife was an American Gentile girl, they tried to harass him, and they tried to throw his wife out of the country. And this is the Haredi community that's behind it. But the nice thing is, though, John, is that we're seeing Haredi Jews, we're seeing Orthodox Jews come to know Yeshua as Messiah. And in fact, I had a friend of mine, he contacted me one day, and he's also an Orthodox Chabad Jew, and he says, Stephen, he says, I just want to know one thing. Can I baptize myself? And I said, do what? He said, he said, look, I don't have much chance. He said, if they know what I'm doing, I'll be in big trouble. But I'm up here in the north end of the country right now. And he said, you know how the Jordan comes into the north end of the Galilee? I could maybe stop by there. He said, I just want to know, is it okay if I baptize myself? Because I want to make sure Jesus is covering me. Jeez.
Amazing.
So, but there's the good news, like you said, John. That's the beautiful news in it. So that we have both sides. You know, it shows you Satan's working on one side, but certainly God is working on the other side as well.
Absolutely. Well, that is good news. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, won't it, sir?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will, John.
Yes. Yep. Well, I believe Donald Trump's going to back off this universal background check thing. I don't have a whole lot of respect for the National Rifle Association anymore, but occasionally I do the right thing for the right reasons. And I was talking to my sheriff here locally last week, and I said, Sheriff, here's what this means if this passes. If I want to loan you my .22 rifle to shoot 10 cans tomorrow, you need to go to a federally licensed gun dealer first to fill out federal paperwork and pass a background check. in order for me to loan you my rifle to shoot 10 cans with. And then when you want to give it back to me after you shot 10 cans, I need to go to a federal licensed dealer and fill out the same paperwork and go through another background check to get my own rifle back. That's what this new law would mean. And people don't understand this, do they?
They don't, John, and I am very concerned with what I'm seeing right now with President Trump on these issues here. And you know, if he doesn't stop this at this point right now, out of the 5 demands that the Democrats have been pushing for these new gun laws, he, in this latest proposal, if I'm not mistaken, he's in favor of 4 of them. That's not good for Americans, and that is just trampling all over the Second Amendment. And I think the thing is, John, the people just need to remind the president, whether they're calling their senators, congressmen, senators, I think are more important at this point here, because that's your final loophole they got to get past. But they need to send a message that this is the reason why they voted the way they did, and to allow this to strip out. It would turn the tables completely. And but you know, John, too, another thing, if you think about it, with what's coming in 14 months, this could be the reason why they're trying to pass new legislation. I know they want to stop, or they want to get this nation disarmed. And of course, Israeli intelligence, as I mentioned to you before, had shared with me that what they want is they want the Americans to get into this fight with each other, and then to exhaust their ammunition supply, and then of course they can declare martial law, and a lot can change from there.
And everything changes after that. We got a break. Call number is 800-313-9443.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms, or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356, or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? a voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I neglected to give our prepper tip of the day at the beginning of the show, so here it is. I want to encourage all of you to stock up on basics. That would be dish detergent, laundry detergent, toilet paper, bath soap, toothpaste, toothbrushes. You can't have too much. And great barter items, especially toilet paper. People can make soap. I have neighbors that make soap in my neighborhood, but it would be pretty difficult to fabricate toilet paper from scratch, to say the least. So that's your prepper tip of the day. My website is thelibertyman.com, and we are going on a cruise. In fact, just before the cruise, we're going to have an event there near Orlando, there where Steve Ben Noon is. It will be Friday, the 8th day of February. The venue is yet to be determined, but Steve and I are working on putting this together. That'll be a fun event. And, of course, the following day, I leave on my Caribbean cruise. You're all welcome to join us. It will be include Valentine's Day, of all things. So it'll be a romantic cruise. It'll be fun. It'll be educational. And I'll be there, of course. Leon Green will be there. We're hoping that Sam Andrews and his wife will be there. That's not confirmed yet. Get the details at my website at thelibertyman.com, or you can call my cruise director, Betsy Murphy. She'll be glad to mail you a full-color brochure. Betsy's telephone number is 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Visiting with Mr. Steve Ben Noon, his website is israelinewslive.org. And if you got a question or comment, give us a call at 800-313-9443. Well, Steve, the powers that be, they know how to appeal to people's basic human frailties with these pastors, don't they, sir?
They do, John. They really do. And the thing is the people are very trusting in pastors, and rightfully so in many cases. But the thing is I guess it goes back to, as the scripture says, seek out your own salvation with trembling and fear. I know there's many people that follow and listen to us. They trust the things that we say, but we have always encouraged people to recognize the fact that God has given them the ability to seek Him personally, individually, to get their own revelation. We've shared stories like that with people because, one thing that's always bothered me over the years is, and I had seen this, witnessed it firsthand. I have a face in front of my mind right now, and again, I don't want to call a name to embarrass anyone, but I think of a man that years ago I knew, that he held his congregation spellbound in so much that when I came in one day, I was going to speak with this individual just on a private level there about another issue, and I didn't go to his church, but as I came into the back door, he was having a meeting with his people that are in, his administrative staff, and he says to them, you do not have to be afraid to approach me just because I am the apostle. And I'm like, I like to fell out. If I'd have been sitting in a chair, I'd have probably fell on the floor. I'm like, and as he continued on, he literally, as Paul warned, he exercised himself as a lord over his own flock. And that's so dangerous. Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. And it's scary that there's men like that. There always have been. There always will be.
Exactly.
And it's a shame that people fall into this trap of believing such silliness, but they do, don't they?
That's right, John. And one quick mention about the conference we'll do on the 8th of February, John. We had actually contacted the facility we normally use here, and we're a few days early on being able to book. They have a certain time frame, and they said I have to get inside that time window there to be able to book it. But it should be at the Hilton. It's actually called the Embassy Suites by Hilton in Ultimate Springs, Florida. And once we do get this all booked there, we will actually post that on Israeli News Live. We'll do it'll be stay at the top of the page of the website there about the conference there. We can do it. We'll depending on what the response of the people are, will be depending on how large we can make this. But we can go anywhere from 150 to about 300, depending on what we see initially from the people that are wanting to come. And that's going to be an interesting conference, John. It will be.
And I'm looking forward to it. And it should be that'd be a good time to be in Florida in February. My second Florida vacation in summertime with my wife, I told her, I said, honey, unless somebody pays me an awful lot of money, I will never come back to the state in the summertime ever again.
Yes, it's the miserable state. They call it, John, the the Sunshine State, but I really would like to lobby the state and call it the miserable state. Change the title.
Okay. We'll get back to that after the break. We got a bottom of the hour break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the energy cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much. My website is thelibertyman.com. Now, smartphone compatible. That was a challenge. It really was. Lots of interesting things there. Some things that you've seen for years. Some new things. I particularly like the speech given by the top general in the People's Liberation Army, the Chinese Army. He did not intend for this to be translated into English and for us Americans to be reading it. But it certainly tells the tale of what he intends to do and the Chinese government intends to do concerning the United States. They want our real estate. They want to take over our country and have it be their country. Lots of things to think about. Also, my website, if you want to sleep as good as a small child every night, like I do every night, well, Right there at my website, you'll find the energy cleaner. If you have arthritis pain, you want to get past the arthritis pain, get your life back, you'll find the energy cleaner will help with that also. Check out the energy cleaner at my website. It's only $285, shipping included, to American zip codes. The mattress pads that go with it, they do vary in price depending on what you need: full size, twin size, queen size, full king size, California king. Everything's right there. We can place your order using PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. You can send me a check. My address is there also. I have a toll-free order line, 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Visiting with Mr. Steve Ben-Noon. His website is IsraeliNewsLive.org. Steve, we got a caller on hold here. We got Chris in Missouri. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, John. My question is for your guest. What was the answer that he gave to the man who was asking about the baptism?
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
In his particular case, I told him, I said, if you can, of course, it'd be great if you can find someone that can baptize you, would be the best way. But, in a situation like he was in, which he didn't actually do it, I can tell you that much there. But I told him, I said, if you're that desperate, I would baptize myself if that's what it took. I said, but really baptism is a public declaration. And I said, so he's wanting to do this in secret, but yet at the same time, I said, there are believers that live there in Israel that can actually baptize you. And so I'm trying to get him over the hurdle of being so fearful, and get with believers there that could baptize him. But at the same time too, this guy here, he's not fully committed yet, and that's another issue. So we get into a lot of things that we talked about privately on that would still need to be addressed in his case there, because it reminds me of another guy that wanted to be baptized years ago, and he was similar to him, kind of hanging on the fence there.
Well, that brings up something I talk about occasionally, and that's Christians in Iraq under Saddam Hussein were treated much better and could practice Christianity openly. In fact, the second in command of the entire country was a Christian. I find it so ironic that our friends, the Israelis, treat Christians so harshly and brutally compared to Saddam Hussein, which ran a country where, quite frankly, Iraq under Saddam Hussein was the best place to be a Christian in the entire Middle East, wasn't it, sir?
Yes.
No doubt. I mean, it's not even something that's debatable, and such a shame. And I don't know what the mindset is of the Israeli government, that they're so dead set against Christians being Christians and openly practicing their beliefs. I can't comprehend why that is the way it is.
Well, John, there's different issues there in Israel that the people face there. There's one side that, like, for example, the prime minister, he is more open to certain types of mainstream Christianity, and they don't have a problem with mainstream Christianity, such as people like John Hagee, people that are unconditionally supporting the state of Israel in anything and everything the state of Israel does. But where they really have their issues at are with Israelis that are becoming believers. And the reason being is because the Orthodox community, who actually really controls a lot of the political power in Israel, they're the ones that is taboo, is for a Jew to convert. They don't have so much problem with Gentiles being what they want to be, at least at this particular point in time. But then again, we have the other issue too, and that's the 7 Noahide laws that they are really pushing. And in fact, in Israel, if you are a Gentile and you go to work for an Israeli company, specifically it's more applied to the Palestinians, they have to sign the Noahide law agreement that they will abide by the Noahide laws, which are Talmudic laws from the Mishnah, in order to work at that company. And if they violate any of those 7 laws, they will be terminated immediately without compensation. So if you really, I would say this, John, for people that really want to understand those things, the best thing to do is go to Israeli News Live, not our website and not our YouTube channel, but our BitChute channel. That's where we talk a little bit more openly about that. We don't have as much censorship there, but on YouTube, they're threatening to shut us down. They forcibly remove those videos, but we show you what the rabbis themselves are actually saying, not just hearsay, so people can see for themselves. It is a very big issue, and it's also affecting us here in the United States. They're trying to push that as a mandate for the future. And that's what I'm concerned about, John, when we talk about this civil war coming in this nation, that if that happens and they declare martial law, the Orthodox community has so much sway and power with every president. Doesn't matter whether it be Republican or Democrat. They have had this power that they're wanting to bring about through a martial law, the mandate of the Noahide laws here in the United States.
Could you give us a brief summary of the 7 Noahide laws, please?
Yeah, John, the 7 Noahide laws, they appear to look just like, or similar to that of the 10 Commandments. And they're not biblical, though. They're not in the scripture, even though they look like that. They were written by Rambam, who is a sage from years ago, back about right around the 9th, 10th century, when he wrote these here in the Mishnah, which we have all those books because of being Jewish background. But I'll tell you what they are. The first one is, do not profane God's oneness in any way. Do not curse your Creator. Do not murder. Like I said, they appear to look similar to the 10 Commandments, but I'll elaborate in just a second. But do not eat a limb of a living animal. Do not steal. Harness and channel the human libido, and establish courts of law and ensure justice in our world. Now, the thing is, though, John, here's where the danger comes in. Each one of these laws all together, all 7 together, have sub-laws. There's over 650 sub-laws. And these are the laws that pertain only to Gentiles, according to the Talmud. These are Gentile laws that Gentiles must keep. These do not apply to the to the Jews, only the Gentiles. The danger comes in is when, for example, their first commandment, if you are a Christian and you believe in the divinity of Jesus, you have violated. That actually comes under the idolatry law, which is, they word it in different ways, but do not profane God's oneness in any way. But that's the one that they put it under. You would be beheaded for that belief. That's
really?
How serious. Yes, that is. And
well, that's basically parallel and identical to Islam, isn't it?
Exactly. In fact, the Orthodox community, and you got to keep in mind, John, when I say the Orthodox community, not all Orthodox Jews believe this, and not many of them don't even realize how serious this is, but or what's actually being planned on this. But according to any Orthodox rabbi, they would tell you that the Muslim community are good Noahides. And in fact, in Freemasonry, the 21st degree of the Freemasons is considered a Noahide Mason, and their emblem is dressed in full black, including a black hood over their head, the sword in their hand raised above the head, and it is actually stated that the 21st degree Mason that he is the judge of the Noahide laws. And this is why we have the issue of guillotines, and we just had recently a federal judge here in the United States that stated, for the record, that we need to bring back two things in America for capital punishment. One is the guillotine, and the other was firing squad.
Really?
Exactly. And so this and there are other countries that are enacting these things. This, and of course, John, this has been going on for decades. This is not something new. We just didn't know it. A lot of people didn't know. I mean, some people tried to bring it out years ago,
right?
And they didn't get very far. When we began to present it on Israeli News Live, because we have such a large platform there, we really raised the alarm, and it got a lot of the people that have been sitting on the bench that really stood up and started defending these Noahide laws. As if, oh, no big deal. Oh, it's a great thing. But the people don't know the seriousness of it. And this is why my wife, she's one of the best ones when it comes to this. And we speak on these things together, but she's got her master's, and of course she still studies and researches unbelievably well. But we really bring out what is being stated by the Orthodox community. How that they consider Christians to be basically heretics, and that these are going to be laws that are going to be incumbent upon all mankind. They also call it natural law.
Really?
That's another terminology they will use for it. They will call it natural law. But John, if you look at it, like I said, though, at face value, everybody agrees. Yeah, don't murder. Don't curse your creator. Sure, we agree with that. Sure, we believe that you shouldn't be into idolatry. That's another way they named the first one, do not commit idolatry, which they said do not profane God's oneness in any way. It's worded both ways. And nobody would want to eat the limb of a living animal. I mean, you don't want to sit there while the poor animal and think about it. Who's going to go out there and start gnawing on the cow's leg while he's alive? Well, that's kind of absurd.
It's pretty bizarre, yes.
So, and of course, when they do the one about harnessing the channel of the human libido, in other words, they're talking about the homosexual acts, the adultery, rape, things like that, which is ironic in itself, because the very same people that are telling you this, and when they bring up the homosexual issue there, which I'm not for homosexuality either, but they use the homosexual agenda in America to slip under the anti-Semitic laws, which also include the 7 Noahide laws, to bring those things about here in the United States. So they use their agenda to get things passed, and no one's paying attention to it. And yet eventually they're going to round them up as well, because that'll be considered breaking one of the 7 Noahide laws. And yet we have in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Netanyahu is the very man that they reached out to the gay community and said, hold your parades here in Jerusalem. That's supposed to be the most holiest city on the planet, and yet you're going to have the gay parades there. The first one they ever had there, John, the weird thing was, we have a street called Hanavim Street. That means the street of the prophets.
Right.
And when they had the first gay parade there that was sanctioned by Netanyahu, the cover of the sewage on the street the lid blew off, and raw sewage went spewing down the streets. Never happened in Israel before. They published in the paper, do you think God is trying to send a message?
Amazing. We got a caller on hold here. We got Ron in Missouri. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, John. The Noahide laws was passed by Congress, I think it was 2005. I got the paperwork, I'd have to dig it up, but our Congress approved the Noahide laws.
John is
I'm sure
exactly
you guys with computers can find it, but it did pass in this country already.
Yes, it's under the Education Act, and that's where they try to minimize its impact, is saying that it's I think it's 114-12, if I'm not mistaken, or 112-14, one way or the other. It's there, and they say, oh, it's just symbolic. And every
unless it's a part of the United States Code, it is just symbolic.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, eventually, they're going to make it a global. The Philippines has it. Russia has it. There's so many nations. Europe, they're right now pushing to get this fully passed.
What happened has the same status as National Cheese Day. It has no impact on the laws of this country. It's just a ceremonial event showing support for something in a ceremonial fashion. It is not part of the United States Code, and you can't be arrested or prosecuted for violating Noahide laws because it's not part of the U.S. Code.
Right, as of yet. Now, the thing is, though, John, what they're wanting to do, though, and this is what's really being pushed right now, they're trying to take the situation here in America, and they're saying, and this is coming from Jewish leaders and Israeli authorities, that the reason why we have all these mass killings in America is because we do not enforce the Noahide laws. That's
come on.
Quote unquote. That's exactly what they're saying. we know it's a crock, John, yes. But the thing is, they're still pushing that agenda.
Amazing. Ron, are you still there?
Hey.
Okay. We'll get back after the break. Okay, thank you. We've got a few minutes left after the break. Tuesday, the 27th of August. We got our last caller on hold here. We got Murr in Wisconsin. Good morning, Murr.
Oh, good morning. I was just looking that up, and I knew it for a fact anyway. George H.W. Bush signed it into law March 26, 1991. It's Nearson's birthday. And Congress, when they voted on...
Signed what into law?
Noahide laws.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
He signed a proclamation. It was a ceremonial event. The Noahide laws are not part of the United States Code. This is what I do for a living, my dear. This has no impact on laws enforced by the FBI. The FBI enforces the United States Code. The Noahide laws are not part of the United States Code. This is a ceremonial event, the equivalent of National Cheese Day. That's all it is.
Well, decapitation may become a ceremonial event for a lot of us.
I don't think so.
I hope not. I pray not. And Haggy is a blasphemer. Christianity is not dependent on Judaism. Judaism came into event after they killed Christ. I love Jesus Christ. I think we need to maybe adopt a new meme called Crino. Christian in name only. I don't call myself a Christian for those very reasons.
Okay.
I mean, you have Samuel Untermeyer that blackmailed Wilson to get Brandeis on the court, to facilitate the Federal Reserve, the IRS, and into World War I. He also helps facilitate World War II. Okay, and he was the one behind the Schofield Bible, which is preaching all this Zionism, this Judeo-Christian. Look at 1 Thessalonians 2:14 and 15. Okay, they killed the prophets and Jesus Christ, and they are contrary, the enemies to all men.
We're down to the last 60 seconds.
Okay, they're liars. They will do what they want, code or not. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. People don't understand how our legal system works, and they get confused here, Steve.
Right.
About a ceremonial event and what the law is.
Right, and that's true, John. And the thing is, though, is what they want, though, is to bring it full scale. I did send you the link, though, where Breaking Israel News was, and it's actually was quoted by the Sanhedrin of Israel, which they do not have the full power as of yet, the Sanhedrin, but they're pushing. They actually are having a meeting coming up very soon, trying to bring 70 nations together to replace the United Nations, which that would that there again could be a long way in happening, but who knows? But anyway, the Sanhedrin attributes the mass shooting epidemic to the lack of the adherence to the Noahide laws. And so it's interesting how that they're gaining their momentum. But the only way they could ever bring it about, John, you have to have a new system. And of course, there is a very well-known book written by a Jewish author called, I think it's called The Utopia. And that's what they want to do in a new world order, is to bring about Sanhedrin rule over the entire world and to put Gentiles under this Noahide law system. So just depends on how things go, John. I mean,
it does. It does.
It take a lot to happen, but yet the way things are going right now in this world. And by the way, quickly before I forget, Israel's preparing to attack Iran. That is Trump intelligence.
Okay, attack who?
Iran.
Iran. Okay, well, that's no surprise. Steve, thank you, sir. We'll have you back next week.
John.
We're at the top of the hour break. We'll be back with Leon Green. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 27th of August. A prepper tip of the day. I want to encourage everybody to stock up on the basics. That would be toilet paper, laundry detergent, soap, bath soap, dishwashing soap, toothpaste, toothbrushes. Simple stuff that makes life just a bit more civilized, shall we say. Really, it does. Things that are easy to get now and would be very difficult, if not impossible, to get during a long-term severe crisis. Great barter items, by the way. Magnificent barter items. We have patient waiting in the green room, my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who began a quest more than a decade ago to become quite knowledgeable of anything and everything to do with essential oils, especially doTERRA essential oils. We'll be talking about these oils, and we'll also be talking about preparedness, talking about our favorite vehicle, the Deuce and a Half, and Lord knows where we'll go because our conversations go all different directions. Good morning, Leon.
Good morning, John. How you doing, sir?
Well, if I felt any better, it wouldn't be legal. How about yourself?
I'm doing very good, too. Talking about the Deuce, I've got to finish up the bumper, and I'm putting on a super-duper winch tray, and then I'm going to be moving it to a different place so I can have it all in one location.
Well, I'm looking at getting my first Deuce and a Half myself here in the not-too-distant future. It will have a power takeoff winch. A power takeoff winch has the entire horsepower of the engine to power the winch. I'm not sure if there's anything it can't pull down or pull up as far as that goes. The drop-down sides would be nice, not mandatory.
Yep.
But it's a tiny percentage of the Deuce and a Half to have the drop-down sides, which makes loading and unloading with a forklift tremendously easier. And of course, there's other accessories such as the trailer, the cargo trailer can be towed behind it, the van body that can fit inside there, which typically they're originally built for communications, but it's an insulated aluminum, I believe it's mostly aluminum, box, basically, that could be easily refitted to become very comfortable housing during a crisis, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I've seen one of those at the Overland Expo. This man had one. He was in Flagstaff, Arizona. And I looked at his, and I was quite impressed. I took tons of pictures and got a bunch of ideas from his. And I had the drop-down sides, and I have higher bows that allow. So I made some extensions so I can, well,
the higher bows would allow a person to stand upright then inside the truck with the top up.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't know that was even available. Of course, you would need canvas suitable to fit over the higher bows as well, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, and I had that custom made too. So I took an old set of regular ones, new ones, and I just had some more canvas sewed onto that. That was kind of pricey, but it worked.
Just put some skirts around the bottom. That would work fine. Yeah.
Yes.
We typically in Vietnam we had the top up with the sides rolled up to let the air circulate, or no top at all.
Yep.
And yeah, well, they're magnificent vehicles that sell for about 5% of what it would cost to buy a new one commercially. That truck would be a $250,000 truck if it was sold new on from a dealer, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, and the ability, especially if you get a multi-fuel version in the 70s, they don't have any electronics, so it's actually EMP proof naturally as compared to the hardened version. So it is very good, and it drinks everything: transmission fluid, motor oil. It just loves biodiesel, everything.
Yep, magnificent vehicles and very reasonably priced. You can get one that's okay mechanically, not terribly pretty, for $3,000, $3,500, and for about $5,000, get one that looks like it's ready to pass a motor pool inspection, doesn't it?
Correct. And the biggest challenge I would say is make sure it's already street legal. You can buy it from some companies, but and sometimes people get it that has only been used for not even parades, but only been used and it's not street legal, and that's just more of a hassle to jump through those hoops. But I got it off for Craigslist, and I've improved it, put night vision forward and aft, and added extra tanks, and so And so one thing
street legal would basically mean adding turn signals and I don't know what else you would need to make something like that street legal.
Yep, it's just title, the MSO title and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So if you're buying it from an individual, it won't be a problem. But sometimes people still get it from auctions, and when they get to auctions, a lot of times they're out of luck and having it street legal. So they just have to jump through those hoops.
Right. Well, that's a good thing to know also. Well, I was going through my inventory of doTERRA oils here the other day, and I need to order some more of those little sticky labels so you can have them on tops of the bottles to help identify them quickly without having to pick them up out of the container. Inventory is excellent and growing, and it's really satisfying every month to get that brown and purple box in the mail with the new order of the new oils. I've got a diffuser going here about 10 feet from me with some peppermint in it. Help get the mood set here for the radio show. And keep my book handy here, Modern Essentials. Make reference to it about once a week for something for me personally or something around the house here. Maybe something regarding cooking. And that's something we need to talk more about because I know we have a lot of excellent cooks that listen to our radio show, don't we, Leon?
Yes, sir. And I love to cook with the oils. And especially when you think about some of the exotic, I wouldn't even say exotic, but some of the flavors that people, they like basil and things like that. And you may not be able to grow basil in the middle of winter if it's too cold and you don't have a greenhouse that's already in effect. Whereas you can always just open up thyme and peppermint, the savory spices along with the sweet ones, and wild orange and all the citrus, and you can use them to flavor like cilantro. To flavor dishes like salsa and Indian curry using ginger and cumin and black pepper. So there's pretty much every major spice in the world that's used. You can use the oils in, and so Italian, French, the whole gamut, marjoram, and so I love cooking with them, and it's fun to do it to see how much, because these things are so concentrated. The biggest thing I would say when people are cooking is use a toothpick. You can put it in the nozzle of the micro nozzle of the bottle. And so for like oregano, if you're doing 2 gallons of spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce, you'll need a dip into there, because if you put a whole drop in there, it will be overpowering. And so it's it's simple, and they go very, they don't have a shelf life, and because of that, you can use them for decades, and you can also bury them with your cash. So then you have the oils to protect you while you're either going back to your location, or if you are actually having to depart for whatever reason.
Well, it's all a win-win situation. Cook tasty, nutritious meals now and have these oils stocked up for in the future. And that's something that a lot of preppers overlook is stocking up on various spices for preparing meals. It really helps the troop morale, whether you've got 3 people in your troop or 30, to have tasty meals. What was it Napoleon said? An army travels on its stomach.
Absolutely.
If you have tasty, nutritious meals, it perks up the entire psychology of everybody involved. They feel better. There's less complaints. They're more productive. And of course, healthier as well, aren't they?
Yes, sir. And if you think of diet fatigue, if you're eating MREs or any kind of freeze-dried food, the advantage of freeze-dried food is that they last longer. And actually, they found out that freeze-dried foods have between 95 and 99% of the original nutrients still in it, as compared to canning drops into the low 90s and even lower in some cases. And so when you do that, even though it has all it may have the original flavor of the chef just to make it generically available for the populace, you can tweak it with the oils, and you can add a lot more zest to it. And we're talking 20, anywhere from 5 to 10 cents a drop. So when you're doing marjoram, thyme, savory, all these oils, it's very inexpensive, but it goes a long way. And when I was talking about diet fatigue, in Britain, in the subway, when they were doing they would hide from the bombing blitz of the Germans, there were many people they had eaten the same food for months, that they just starved to death, because this was both children and seniors. And because the food was so bland, and they were tired of eating the same thing over and over again. So it is crucial to have variety, and it does impact the morale of everybody involved.
Well, morale is no small thing. And any commander who doesn't understand it won't be a commander very long. And I learned that firsthand, of course, in the Army and in Vietnam. I had 3 different commanders in Vietnam, and their style and their abilities and their leadership skills were all completely different. And one guy was a good administrator. He was there before the Tet Offensive. During the Tet Offensive, we had a former Special Forces leader who was a captain, and he was a warrior, and he was the perfect guy to have in our outfit during the Tet Offensive. And then a few months after Tet ended, we got a career man who didn't even stay with his other officers. He stayed at a compound several miles away, and nobody liked this guy. And so it's leadership is not an easy thing, but having tasty food for the troops is not optional. And your cook, if you have a designated cook for your group, that's a very important position that needs to be cherished and respected and helped in any way the cook needs to be helped. And having these oils available for the cook will help the cook prepare the tasty, nutritious meals that will give everybody a better level of morale. And you're a veteran yourself, Leon, and of course the Navy. You're a veteran of the Navy. The Navy has always been well known among the various members, various parts of our military to have the best chow that there is, aren't they?
Absolutely, and then the pinnacle of that chow line is the submarines. They have the top food in the entire military because of their isolated duty and lack of sunlight, and so they go above and beyond for the subbound. And so yes, it's one thing I do recall is the great food, both on the poop deck as well as in the officers' quarters. So, yeah, I agree with you in that regard. And matter of fact, I'm making a point. I should pull out this book, but we have another book that came out, I think, a year ago, but I don't think you have it. And I'm going to grab it now so I don't forget it. But I'll bring it with me to Florida so you can have it as a gift from me. About it talks about all the oils, but it goes much more in depth in cooking as compared to Modern Essentials. Is pretty much helping you.
Right. Yep.
But I'm going to grab this book for you
Modern
right
Essentials.
now.
Modern Essentials doesn't really dwell much on cooking that I'm aware of.
No.
But it seems to be when it comes to booksellers and publishing, there's always new cookbooks. That's just simply the way it is because everybody eats. I recall I was in a waiting to testify in a hearing, and we had the brother of one of our U.S. presidents there, and other people who were blue collar workers, and they found commonality in talking about food and gardening. So, food and gardening is something that it crosses all the barriers of income and educational level and professions, doesn't it?
Absolutely, but especially in the prepper community. But yeah, it seems to be a rally cry for people to be healthy, but also more independent. But I talked to a lot of people, and just recently I was in Salt Lake City. I think I sent you pictures of the garden. This thing that must have been almost a half an acre by itself. It was incredible. And they had livestock and 5 turkeys and like 15 goats, and I was just totally blown away. And I loved the square foot gardening, and it was raised beds, but not raised beds like center block. This was 4 feet off the ground, so you didn't have to bend over at all. You could just reach up to grab the vegetables and the fruit, and I was just blown away at how organized and sophisticated, but simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be, and it was all irrigated with the drip irrigation, and so yeah, it does cross all the boundaries of all the demographics. It's just a matter of just taking the initiative and doing it. And I've read how even ISIS said, hey, why don't we start hitting their food supplies? And you hear about the crazy lady licking on the ice cream, but they said, why don't we go after the in-store, the retail places, because we aren't powerful enough to hit the agricultural yet. But and that was a report that came out. The FBI talked about it, and several other agencies described it. And I'm like, wow. So after you see all these, these E. coli outbreaks and salmonella, it motivates people to say, okay, I'm going to start taking control of my own food as compared to being, relying on the 3-day window of food that they have and just-in-time inventory. And then I can ensure it's organic and not have to worry about some of the companies who lie about it. Or like out in California, they spent $20 million.
Hold that thought, man. We got a break. Phone number is 800-313-9443.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, Do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
Republic Broadcasting Network depends on listener support of our advertisers and of our sponsors. We'd like to especially thank all of you who have taken advantage of our fundraiser with Front Sight Bonus. Those who are now Front Sight members, please train as soon as possible for your sake and for that of our nation. And please consider sharing your training and what you've learned when you arrive home. Republic Broadcasting Network has to stop promoting this fundraiser on air and on the website in just a few days. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, president of Front Sight, made a gracious exception to his no media rule for us at Republic Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Dr. Piazza. And once you've been to Front Sight, feel free to call your favorite host and share your experience on the air. We can continue this fundraiser without media help, but it'll be totally up to the listeners to spread the information. Please call Dan Sutterfield in Missouri at 573-465-2356, 573-465-2356. That's 573-465-2356.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 27th of August. We're going on a cruise. I'm going. Leon's going. And if you want to go, well, check out the cruise at my website at thelibertyman.com. We're leaving Florida the 9th, Saturday, the 9th of February, returning a week later, the 16th, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. It will be fun. It will be romantic. We got Valentine's Day, falls right in the middle of the cruise. Get all the details there at my website at thelibertyman.com. If you don't have internet access, just give our cruise director a call, Betsy Murphy, at 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Talking to Leon Green, and we're talking about all kinds of things, our favorite truck, the Deuce and a Half, essential oils, cooking. I'm not much of a cook myself, Leon, but I do enjoy a well-prepared meal, and I think that's pretty much universal, isn't it, sir?
Absolutely. It's always funny to hear people say, everybody can gripe about the food, but when you ask them, come on to the kitchen and cook, they're like, they change their tune really quickly, don't they?
Right, exactly. Well, I know myself, speaking for myself, most meals that I had in the Army, I liked them. I recall that when they have liver and onions in the mess hall, that the cooks were so happy that somebody would actually ask for seconds. It really pleased these guys to do that, to have somebody ask for seconds. It made their day.
Yeah.
But of course, most people get the oils for health-related reasons, and they would look at cooking as a secondary use. But no reason why, if you're a healthy guy like me, you might want the oils primarily for cooking and making tasty meals. Now, there's a book you say that gives more details on using the oils for cooking. What is the title of that book again?
It's actually it's called The Essential Life. And
The Essential Life. Okay.
Yes, sir. There's a couple other ones. Just the Essentials is another book, but that's more of a lifestyle and how to use the oils throughout, like how your wife used them for cooking the what do you call it? Oh, she would use it for laundry. So yes, you can use them in so many different capacities, and that's the other book. But I just put that out on a table that I'll be taking stuff with me on the trip. And so right now, I sent you some pictures from the inside of the book so you can actually do a couple of the recipes before we meet next week.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, most of the time we talk about a specific book to help people stay healthy, and the title of that book is Modern Essentials. We talk about the 5th edition, which they say things in there they're not allowed to by the Food and Drug Administration any longer, and the 10th edition, the latest one, which has oils in there that weren't available when the 5th edition came out. So you need those two things. In addition, at my website at thelibertyman.com, there's a drop-down menu under products. We can go to doTERRA oils and begin your quest to educate yourself, learn about the oils, of course, order the oils. And there's a bonus. If you're an outgoing person who likes to be sociable and talk to people, you might just want to turn the doTERRA essential oils into a part-time business, right, Leon?
Absolutely. That's my vocation and my vocation for the last 9 years now. And in fact, the global convention is going to be occurring September 9th to the 13th. So it's going to be in Salt Lake City. It's already sold out, 34,000 tickets. And they do have live streaming. So even people who are not members of doTERRA can access it. And I will forward you the link. So if anyone asks you while I'm gone, they can still access it. It's live streaming, and I believe you even have a couple of days after it, so you don't have to watch all, completely live if you're working. But it's outstanding to be able to listen to these doctors and scientists and botanists worldwide. And they also go much more in depth into the healing hands, where they are investing in the world, and now 92% of all of our oils are sourced directly to doTERRA. We don't share any other. That means we don't share sources with other companies. And because of that, doTERRA has the philosophy is, hey, this industry, especially in the frankincense industry, they've taken advantage of the growers and the harvesters for 2,000 years. So doTERRA is now going straight to those people and paying them in many cases up to 5 years in advance, whereas that's unheard of. And that's why we have the loyalty. We have so much, we're exclusive with these people because they realize, hey, we're not going to be taking advantage like there's many people who've worked for years and they have still never been paid. So, it is important, and it's a thing called the Healing Hands deals specifically with people worldwide, and how they even have microloans in which they have 95% repayment of these loans. So these people they have the ability now to start and expand their industry.
Hold that thought, Leon. We got a break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the energy cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Moore here on Tuesday. It is Tuesday, the 27th of August. My website is thelibertyman.com. If you're concerned about the future and what might happen with the economy and the dollar, you might want to look at getting some gold and silver coins. At my website at thelibertyman.com, you'll see a red box with a gold ribbon on it. Looks like a Christmas package. Click on that. That will be the landing site for Steve Hunt, who's with Swiss America now. Swiss America made an offer he couldn't refuse, and he's back with Swiss America, helping everybody to understand what and how to do what they need to do to get involved with gold and silver coins. So check that out. If you've got arthritis pain, you're taking pain meds, you know that's not good. You know it's hard on your liver, hard on your kidneys. Long term, it's just simply not good to take these pain meds. Get yourself an energy cleaner and get rid of the arthritis pain in a healthy manner. That would be a really smart thing, don't you think? You want to sleep as good as a small child every night, like I do every night, and I do, because I use an energy cleaner. What a great combination. Get rid of the pain, sleep great at night, $285 shipping included. And, of course, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. Check out the energy cleaner at my website. Read the testimonials from people as we know, like Steve Whitman, for example. And then go ahead and place your order using PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. Be sure and get a mattress pad to go with it. That's the way to go. Twin size, full, queen, king, California king, the handy travel size. Everything's right there. You can write me a check. My address is there at my website. Or you can mail me, or you can call my toll-free order line. That's 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. We're taking questions and calls and comments at Republic Broadcasting. We're talking about doTERRA oils. The call number is 800-313-9443. Leon, somebody wanted to...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. We had a thunderstorm go through here in south central Missouri, and it's causing some issues with electricity and connections and so forth. Anyway, before I was disconnected there, I was talking about how Leon and I have very similar bios and how we use the oils every day to help ourselves be healthy, be strong, and America needs healthy, strong Americans. That's what we need. We want to make America great again, don't we? Well, the oils can be part of it. Now, the oils can't do it by themselves. If you think you can smoke 2 packs of cigarette and be healthy with doTERRA oils, you're fooling yourself. You think you can make the 3 main food groups, beer, pizza, and ice cream, and use doTERRA oils to be healthy, you're fooling yourself. You will take dietary changes, lifestyle changes, attitude changes to incorporate the oils and be healthy, be strong, and do the things that we all want to do. So it's a journey. It's a quest. It's something that is ongoing. Once you get involved with the oils, you will continue learning, as I do, picking up modern essentials once or twice a week to address something that needs to be addressed that you think, I wonder if there's an oil that would be good for that. And frequently there will be an oil that will be good for that. And all I can do is encourage people to begin this quest. That's all I can do. It's your choice to engage or not engage. I respect that. And once you do, you'll be happy you did. Once you do, you'll be wondering why you didn't do it years before. And that's the experience that I've had myself and the people I talk to. That's the experience they have. So let's do this. Let's have everybody get a copy of the book Modern Essentials, 5th edition. If you can get a copy of the 10th edition, you'll find oils there that weren't available in the 5th edition. Just go to my website at thelibertyman.com. Go to the drop-down menu. Start looking at these oils. They're highly, highly concentrated. Leon made reference to one full drop being too much, where you just stick a toothpick in and use that to flavor whatever needs to be flavored. That's how concentrated these things are. When the instructions say one drop, they mean one drop. So concentrated that they can actually be a burning sensation if you get these oils in your eye. You don't want to, and that's a reminder to be sure and wash your hands once you're done applying the oils, to get all that oil off your fingers, because it's inevitable that you'll probably touch a mucous membrane inside of your nose, your eye, your mouth, and you will regret that. It looks like I'm hearing Leon is getting reconnected here.
Sorry, I was just rambling for like 3 or 4 minutes talking about how the oils can be used for Vanderbilts, and I looked down and said the phone's not there, so I better call back.
Right. Well, I was disconnected briefly there as well, Leon. So I don't know. We had a storm down here in south central Missouri that has caused some issues, and
I see.
It looks like my internet connection is down right now, is what appears to be going on. I'll address that with my provider after the show's over. Looks like maybe it's reconnected now. Regardless, while you were gone, I was talking about how we need healthy, strong Americans to make America great again, don't we, Leon?
Absolutely. And I mean, when you think about casualties, especially in a combat setting, if you're not healthy, you're equivalent to being a casualty, because now other people have to take care of you instead of focusing on the fight.
Right.
So it isn't right that you're healthy. You can ambulate normally. And I'd also add some things to the preparative of the day is, have braces. You can get crutches for $2-3 at the thrift stores. And who says you may not get hurt falling off, jumping out of the back of the pickup truck, or hurting your ankle. So you can have these things now cheap. You can always make them using wood in the future, but if you have something that is actually more reliable and more consistent, you don't have to. You're going to have plenty of time to go primitive in the future. I promise you that. So it's good to get some of these things now cheap.
Well, disciplined soldiers will intentionally wound another soldier rather than kill him, an enemy soldier, because that takes two troops out of combat instead of one. One guy is injured and one guy to care for the injured guy. So injuries are a very serious thing, and staying healthy is the way you want to go. The oils will help you stay healthy in normal times and stay healthy when there's crisis going on, and recover lost health if you have a situation you find yourself where you need to recover lost health. So the oils work in all three ways, don't they?
Yes, sir. And they cross all the spectrum of both physical and emotional applications, as well as spiritual. So you can use the oils if you are depressed because of, like you said, in a crisis. So, I mean, think about all the times you see the news footage of people. I lost my home and everything I had in there. The news likes to, feed on that negativism, and so they see these people crying. And so, imagine losing your whole house, but now you start adding on to the fact that you may be losing loved ones. And so, the oils can be used even if you don't have electricity for a diffuser. You can touch the oil not to your nose, and your nose becomes a diffuser because you're breathing it in directly. Plus, it also gets into your bloodstream transdermally. So, yes. You still there?
I'm here, Leon. Go ahead. We're dealing with some technical things here, but I am here. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So you can use the oils for so many different applications. So the ability to cache them with your medical supplies and food and knives and whatever you want to use for security. And you can put the oils. There's the regular size bottle, which is the the 15 milliliter as well as the 5 milliliter, and then you can also put them into smaller dram size bottles, which will have 20 or 30 drops. But if you are just doing a little cash box or a 5-gallon bucket you buried 5 feet, 4 feet on the ground, and you want to have something along the way getting to your bug out location, it doesn't take up much space, and they are small and light. And so you can have the benefit of having the immunity blend to protect you from all the interesting bugs you'll find along the way, dysentery, cholera, TB. And talking about food, if you're only eating MREs or freeze-dried foods, E-rats, what happens is typically they're high in salt or sodium, and if this is food that you have not eaten on a regular basis, then you most likely become constipated. So then now you're dealing with traveling and having poor water, and you can apply these oils sublingually, or even you can put them in your belly button, especially the Digest Zen, which is a proprietary blend by doTERRA that's used to enable homeostasis in your gut. So if you have diarrhea because of bad food, or if you are constipated because of how the food is, you can use the oils.
Unfamiliar food and stress and being slightly dehydrated, those all add up. Leon, people may want a private consultation, or they may want to talk to you about starting a doTERRA business. How would they call you, sir?
Yes, sir. My number is 303-495-2188, and that's Mountain Time.
Okay, that's 303-495-2188, and that's Mountain Time. If Leon doesn't pick up, just leave a message. He'll get back with you, won't you, Leon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we talk about this every week. We manage to alert everybody, and some people wake up to the alert. Other people just stay sleeping, don't they?
Yes, sir. And it's just like the normalcy bias here in America. Everybody thinks it's going to stay perfect forever. And I mean, look at Venezuela and Argentina has lost 50% of its currency, in the last 6-7 months. And so you remember in Mexico, their currency in my lifetime was taking a dump twice. And Russia, the ruble became rebel. And so for everybody to think, hey, America's going to stay on top, just like that Chinese general saying what he wants to do with America. So, they planned hundreds of years in advance. And so, for us to think that we'll always be the top dog is kind of prideful. But
right. Moses did not receive an 11th commandment saying the United States of America would last forever, did he?
No, I didn't catch that.
No, that was not there. It was not. There was no addendum, no codicil. Just the 10 commandments. No 11th one saying that the United States of America would persevere through all things. In fact, the United States of America is not even mentioned in the Bible, is it?
Absolutely.
So yes. Well, we're leading all these people to the knowledge, and it's their obligation to pick up the knowledge and learn from it, or leave it be. I respect that. That's their choice. I don't have an emotional attachment to the outcome, but I do want to see my fellow Americans be healthy and happy and strong and persevere, because what's coming at us will be of biblical proportions, won't it, Leon?
Absolutely. And if you look at the book of Revelation, it is not a picnic. So if you don't prepare now, and the Bible describes how you should be wise like an ant and prepare as compared to the grasshopper. And so if you don't want to take those biblical edicts, and that's totally up to you, like you said. And I've had many friends and people I know say, well, I'm just going to come to your place. And they don't realize the depth of the preparedness that you and I have done. And so, back with operational security, we don't broadcast what we do. But when they get here, I'm not going to be here. So I have no intention of bugging in unless there's unless there is a nuclear event. And if that occurs, I'm going to be here for a week or so and be gone.
Right.
So for the people to say, I'm just going to come mooch off of you, they're going to be really disappointed when the people, and I'm talking to everybody in general, is that they think they're just going to go to their friends' places and go there, and they haven't done anything to prepare, and they don't have any skills, and they don't have any food and anything to bring to the party. They may be sorely saddened when they get turned away.
Right. Well, and that will happen, of course. I'm not going to put my family at risk to take care of people that are not my family. That's simply not going to happen. And people need to understand that they need to prepare for themselves. And something we need to mention, we talk about this, is incrementally substituting the oils for prescription products. We got a break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Before the break, I was talking about how you can incrementally get off the prescription medical products and substitute doTERRA oils. Some things, obviously, that couldn't be done with, such as a organ transplant rejection medication, but there's many other prescription pharmaceutical products that the oils can take the place of, aren't there, Leon?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest ones, I mean, think about sleep aids. You see they call them sleep aids, but I mean, you may have heard of Ambien, but there's countless number of suicides attached to that drug. And so something as simple as lavender or the Serenity blend, and even better is the Serenity complex. It's a gel cap. And I've used that now for 3.5 years, and I love that. And that's, you know, I have many of my oils stashed out in my retreat. And that's when I have in mass. And so I realized, I ran out. And so I, bought another 4 bottles because of how much it impacts my sleep. And, sleep is crucial for your immune system. And I think we talked about this DVD months ago called Sleepless in America. And it talks about the direct correlation with poor sleep and diabetes, glucose sugar, dementia, and Alzheimer's, and cancer, and mistakes that were made on the job. And some of the biggest mistakes this last century were, the oil spill, Chernobyl,
right.
3 Mile Island. They were all attached to major sleep impacts. The Challenger disaster was, they had worked those engineers so much that they were completely disheveled, and they decided to go with the launch regardless. And all 7 of them died. So. Yeah, it has a huge impact on life, and that's one thing you won't have a lot of is sleep during a grid down scenario, because of the fact that you may, depending on where you are, bullets.
Right. The value of sleep will become really, really clear to you when you're in that kind of crisis. We take it for granted in normal times, but the value of sleep, you will cherish sound, restful sleep, comfortable, sound, restful sleep. The time to get started is now. get Modern Essentials, the book Modern Essentials. Go to my website at thelibertyman.com. Start shopping for the products, the oils. Get a kit. The most efficient way to get started is to buy a kit. The bigger, the better, right, Leon?
Yes, sir. And I always tell people, get the largest kit that you can afford, but don't go in debt. And so you get them at a better price. Plus, you start at a higher loyalty rewards point. So instead of at 10%, you start at 15% or above, and it goes all the way up to 25%. But you now, when you buy the oils, unlike Costco, which gives you back 3%, at the end of 1 year, if you're on the program, you get up to 30% back in free oil. So you choose whatever you want. And so we give you 10 times as much rewards just for being a member of doTERRA. And now you're getting it at below 55% when you get it, with the kit and you are on the loyalty rewards program. So it's the smartest way to do it. And that's how each year I get over $600 worth of free oils just because I'm on this program, and it's a free program, so it's definitely worth it.
It is definitely worth it, and we do everything we can to make it easy for people. Leon, thank you. We'll have you back next week.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it for today. Get your medical supplies, your energy cleaner, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms, ammunition. Never, ever use your guns. Please do a fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.